Daniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000. But the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I got to have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliate and scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tapping in on what they would call Columbus Day. Very controversial day in a lot of people's minds. But Columbus Day, it's October 10th, 2022. It's a Monday. It is going to be a phenomenal, interesting week. I have some great times coming up throughout this week, next week, and the week after. I think that this entire year is going to be pretty awesome. So welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. Thank you for tapping in. I think that we in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be the best quarter of the year. By far. It's going to be the best quarter of the year. Let me go ahead and get some of the housekeeping out of the way. Shout out to Tej Henley. They say Indigenous Peoples Day. Aaron, that's what they calling it, Indigenous Peoples Day. I call it Columbus Day. Listen, I am a traditionalist. I don't get caught up in the names. I don't get caught up in none of that. Lands were meant to be conquered. People were looking to be taken over. That's just life. It just is what it is. You're not going to live kumbaya. Wars has been fought since the beginning of time. For a lot of y'all, it's the holiday for y'all to get off of work. I don't see you going in and checking into work just to protest. So go ahead and enjoy your holiday that they're giving you for free. They're paying you for free to be able to stay off of work, including me. It's a banking holiday. And we're going to get it popping. So, again, tap into Tej. Tej, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Make sure that you get that Tej pack. Uncomplicated skincare for men. It is a phenomenal product. I use it myself, and it is awesome. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I am literally dropping. I actually already got it uploaded. The video, the interview today. So I'm dropping an interview today. I'm dropping an interview Wednesday. And make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for you to view the interview. 2 whole plus hours of heat, smoke, insight, understanding, financial knowledge, the whole 9 yards. This video alone is a full-length feature film that would allow for you guys to really be able to grasp a lot of the things that everybody else is not going to be available. The first Charleston White video that I dropped, where we did it right here in this studio, in my office here at the crib, the first Charleston White video, the full interview has been removed from YouTube by me. So even when I eventually, after a month or two, make certain interviews available for the general public, they're only going to be up there for a couple weeks. Then I completely remove them forever. and they're only going to exist on the Patreon. So that's the way that we're going to do it, right? We're going to play it like this. Patreon members, obviously, you know, you get everything. You get the exclusive content. You get the Millionaire Morning Show videos. You get, I'm about to start archiving the majority of my content from yesteryear. And then I'm moving all of that over into a secured website of my platform, which will eventually transfer over to. And so everything is going to be exclusive. Almost everything is going exclusive now. I am not going to have the majority of my content on YouTube. I will still be on YouTube, hopefully, as long as YouTube have me. I'm happy to be here. I'm thankful for YouTube. They have created a platform for me to be able to get my voice out. But more importantly, all of the content is going exclusive. So if you are a Patreon member, if you're a bag chaser, not only do you get the access to be able to have all of the mastermind sessions and build a business and all of that other type of stuff, but you also get you're only going to be, you're the only ones that's going to be available to be able to get all of the exclusive content from all of the content creators, politicians, people that have transformed their lives and went from being in jail to being millionaires to famous people that I got lined up that I'm talking to. You are the ones that are going to have access to all of that information. I may here or there drop a full interview after it's been on Patreon for a month or two for the general public, but then I remove it and it's just going archived into the Patreon forever. So if you are not a part of the Bag Chasers, make sure you tap in. The link is in the description. Yes, Patreon members will get access to the website. Absolutely. Patreon members will get access to everything. I am planning on doing a live show where I'm going to have some of my famous friends, including Charleston White, come through, and he's going to do his thing. And Patreon members are going to be free. We got the New Year's Eve meetup in Miami. We have the Patreon retreat coming next year. And it is the most exclusive club that you can be in. I was coaching somebody earlier today, and they say, "Yeah, I'm looking to get this proposal written, and so I'm not really sure if I'm doing it all the way right. So I'm gonna tap into the Discord that's attached to the Patreon and see what our friends is talking about." It's crazy, honestly. And let me just give you a little bit of insight. The amount of networking that you have available at your fingertips, as far as everybody in so many different industries and winning as executives or in information technology and cybersecurity and government contracts and consulting and, you know, cryptocurrency, and all of the amount of information and the access to a network of people that you have is crazy. If you are a college student, right? Or if you are a person looking to switch industries or anything, to be able to tap into a group of people just because they're associated with me that's going in the direction that you're going in is insane. It's insane. You get that nowhere else. I am connected with a guy. I'm not gonna say that. Anyways, my point is that you guys need to make sure that you tap into the Patreon. It's crazy. So that link is in the description. We're gonna do our thing. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the show. So I got the housekeeping out of the way. Let me get into some of these super chats really quickly because I appreciate y'all for holding me down. Michael Russell says, Patreon videos have been changing my outlook on life. Pure gems and gold. Appreciate you, big bro. I appreciate you, Michael, for being a part of the Bag Chasers because we need good people. I need good people around me. So you guys are saying thank you, Anton, and I'm saying thank you for being a part of my network, because then we can start to help each other and pour into each other as we become better versions of ourselves. So thank you, Michael Russell. I appreciate you. Yvette says, sending my bro love. Thank you. Thank you, Yvette. I love you. I appreciate you. One of the sweetest people that I know in real life. Met her several times in real life. Demetrius, my guy, says, what up, Anton? Will you have 2 minutes to review my resume and possibly make comments? I will. I got you, Demetrius. I got you. Demetrius, text me. I got you, big dog. Absolutely. So thank y'all again for rocking out with me. Everybody give a round of applause for Malahish. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm a C student. I'm sorry, but make sure that y'all show some love to Mal. How about that? Show some love to Mal for being a bag chaser. Thank you, Mal, for being a bag chaser. Persevere Data TV says, since becoming a bag chaser, I went from walking 1 dog to walking 2 dogs. Now I'm walking a 3rd. If you know what I mean, never settling. If you know, you know. We're not talking about walking dogs, ladies and gentlemen. We bag chasers. That mean we speak metaphorically. We speak in parables. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Persevere Data TV getting that bag and walking them dogs. Let's get into the show. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, shout out to Julius Knight. We appreciate you. Also shout out to Mal Jackson, new Patreon member. Shout out to everybody that's joining the Patreon right now. We appreciate you. You unlock everything. It's only one tier left. You unlock everything. Shout out to Mr. Undisputed. Says looking forward to the growth. Make sure y'all get into the Discord. As soon as you join the Patreon, jump into the Discord also. Your whole life is going to be changed. You're going to be a completely different person. I promise you. So let's get into the show. Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, is one thing that I want to tackle, and it's Netflix. Netflix for me is so funny. I remember just maybe a month or so, month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months, might have been 3. That somebody sent me a message. It was a couple people sent me a message that said, see, Anton, you went in on Netflix and see now what's happening to them because Netflix stock had cratered, right? It had went down. But the one thing that I always teach y'all, and I'll just show you what my return is, because a lot of you remember that I was doing a breakdown on why I love Netflix as an investment, right? Now, keep in mind, this is not investment advice. I don't give investment advice. I only tell you what it is that I do. And then you can take what it is that I do, and especially the videos that I drop in the Patreon, such as the video where I break down the things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a stock, which is making an informed decision instead of gambling and buying stocks, right? Buying stocks is gambling. Making informed decisions is an investment. It's a difference. Understanding money, making calculated risks, and then making the decisions that you're going to go with this company for the next 10 to 15 years will help you to make a better decision as far as what it is that you're investing in, right? And so it's a lot of different companies that I love, right? And I also want you guys to understand that when we make decisions, we don't check the markets every day. I barely even check it every week. The only reason I tap into my brokerage account is because I spend about 1,000 to 2,000 every day based off of what my spending habits are in real life. And so, I have this strategy where anything that I'm spending, so if I'm buying Amazon, then I'm going to research Amazon. If I'm buying something from Amazon, so if I'm shopping on the Amazon app, what I'll do is I'll also take into consideration buying Amazon stock. I'll either half what it is that I'm spending on Amazon or I'll double it because I believe in being more of an investor than a consumer. That's a completely different conversation. But somebody tapped in with me because I did a show months ago, and I mean months and months, maybe even close to a year ago, about how much I loved Netflix. But then, of course, you're going to have the analysts, and it's going to go up and it's going down. And as a matter of fact, one of the things, I remember one of the days that I talked about Netflix, I was at the DC meetup. So it was earlier this year, right? And I was talking about, hey, this is what Netflix strategy is, and this is why I'm loving the stock, and this is what my play is, not telling you what to do, but what I'm going to do. And then soon thereafter, of course, the economy continued to tank and Netflix was down. And then they was talking about, the death of Netflix and Dave Chappelle and people are revolting and people want to quit and so on and so forth, right? And let me give you an example why it's important for you to stay with something because the fundamentals of the company never changed. It's still a great play, except for they're making adjustments in order to ensure that they are positioned well for the next 20 to 30 years. They don't want to become a blockbuster, right? And so it's funny because I checked my portfolio the other day and I was like, wow, this is insane. Let me show it to you. Total gain percentage. I'm not going to do the whole shebang. My total gain on Netflix. I don't even know if you can see this. Let me see if I can. Since 11%. Since the crater, let me move over to show you what it is. Acquired. When did I buy Netflix? 425. That was around the time of the DC meetup. Netflix Inc. is at the top. Somehow, some way, these stocks continue to do what it is that I say that they're going to do because I make informed decisions. And I do not move based off of how I feel. I move based off of what makes sense. Now, you know I love talking about the money, right? And so one of the things that I want to share with you, let me share my screen really quickly, because JP Morgan Chase echoes this exact sentiment that I'm echoing, and that they're saying that they believe that Netflix is going to start basically printing cash. They say that Netflix has unlocked something that they have not had before, and that they're going to start printing money basically. Netflix may haul in billions of dollars by selling ads, predict JP Morgan Chase. All right. And again, I want to give y'all a little bit of insight, and this is the stuff that we kind of talk about inside of the Patreon, but we talk about it a lot more in depth, and we do a deep dive, fireside chats, and so on and so forth. Shout out to Natasha. Netflix stands to haul in big bucks over the next few years from the launch of its first ad-supported tier, estimates JP Morgan. Analyst Doug estimated in a new note on Monday, Netflix could drive 7.5 million subscribers to its ad-supported tier in the US and Canada alone. Now, Netflix is a worldwide company, so you can pretty much understand exactly what it is its strategy is, right? And one of the reasons why I love Netflix is because they didn't wait until all of these other streaming platforms started to pull their content off of their platform. They started very early in the content creation game and mining out their own content. Now, similar to what it is that we do on YouTube, this content lives forever, which means that it'll always be licensed and make money. Orange is the New Black. What was the movie with Kevin? Well, not movie. It was a series with Kevin Spacey, and he was the president. That was a really good series at first. You know, all of these Netflix exclusive, the Dave Chappelle's, all of this stuff and this content will continue to be there forever, and they're continuing to build out their portfolio. But more importantly, they're the company in the streaming wars that continue to innovate, even though there's other players that's coming into the fold. So you're looking at the Peacock network and all of that, and I think that all of that stuff is going to flop. I don't think that there's going to be a large demographic of people that migrate over to the Peacock network and, you know, all of these other exclusive providers. I think that there's about four big players. You got Amazon, you got Netflix, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus. Oh, let me give you a fifth one. Disney Plus. Disney is always a decent play in from my position. Whether or not you want to invest in them because you don't necessarily stand with what they stand for as a company is a completely different conversation. But my point is, House of Cards. That's the name of it, House of Cards. But that alone will help drive $600 million in advertising sales in 2023 for the segment. Those numbers are expected to swell by 2026 as Netflix's execution on selling ads improves. So they're just getting into an industry. They're already a phenomenal company. They have a great leadership, right? Their books make sense. And their stock, in my opinion, even at an 11% gain since April of this year, and the entire economy tanking and cratering, I believe that Netflix has a runway that is incredible. Absolutely, positively incredible. Okay. They go on to say that by 2026, Netflix segment will boast 22 million subscribers and drive. This segment of Netflix will drive 22 million subscribers and 2.65 billion in annual sales. Optimism on Wall Street regarding the financial impact of Netflix looming ad tier has greatly supported the stock in recent months, which means it was a good play. Shares of the streaming giant are up 19% in the past 3 months alone, outperforming the S&P 500 by a 4% drop. Shares of Netflix. Now, keep in mind, and this will tell you that I am an early believer and an early investor this year when I identified it as a stock play that I really wanted to get into as one of the new companies that I love, right? Shares are up 19%, but my position is only up roughly 11%, which means that you ride the wave and then you continue to make the money, right? When you say make the money, it doesn't mean that you're using the money or you're looking to sell the stock at a profit. I'm not selling a stock. I plan on holding on to Netflix at least for the next 10 years. Because what we do is we make informed decisions and we don't want to pay capital gains taxes, but we want to increase our net worth. All right. So let's just go into a little bit more. Given Netflix recently muted sub growth, advertising is critical to reaccelerating revenue, expanding Netflix's SAM subscription addressable market, greater profitability, shifted from slow to no growth on the current business to advertising and pay sharing coming in 2023. Look, check it out. First half of 2022 has been un-Netflix-like. Same way it's been across all industries. Apple, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, every single blue chip stock is down. Factors that have led to the stock plunging 63% this year. What did I say when the stock plunged 63% this year? I said, yo, we got a meteor on our hands. We got a really good company that knows how to navigate through the pandemic, and it has the same leadership that started the company, the co-founders, and they're going to take this company to the next level because the fundamentals of the business is still phenomenal. A lot of what people were reacting to was the same thing why people day trade, right? They were reacting to the current news of, hey, subscriber growth accelerated greatly during the pandemic, and then it slowed down because a lot of people that they were targeting to join Netflix during the pandemic had already joined. And so he said, hey, wait, where's the growth? And the economy is slowing down, and we in a recession, and it's inflation, and Biden doing what he's doing from a policy perspective. Let's be careful. Let's go ahead and tank the stock 63%. Now, guess what? A whole lot of people ran. They took L's because they were gambling instead of making informed decisions. And so as a result, you can even do it on a dollar cost basis and make your investments that way. But as a result, I'm just chilling. I'm slow motion. I don't need the money. I'm not flipping over that. I'm making long-term decisions, which is one of the reasons why it's important to understand your investments and have patience, okay? So it said the company shed more than 1 million paid subscribers in the first quarter of the year as the economy slowed and consumers cut back. Well, why is that, right? Because you need to understand the why. It's kind of like the airline industry. It's kind of like the hotel industry. Anything that happens in which people start to get concerned over money, whether it be inflation, policy, losing their jobs, or layoffs, or whatever, the first thing that they start to cut is the thing that they don't need in order to ensure that they can continue to be successful. Travel, leisure, Netflix, subscriptions, all of that type of stuff. What they don't realize is that it's a fickle economy, right? People are still working. And so when people started to take into consideration that Netflix ain't the move no more, what they didn't take into consideration also is that it is a fundamentally sound ran company, has a decent amount of debt, but it has a great profitability. But it was all a great storm for investors, not for people that were fickle. Meaning that when everybody started to panic in the economy and it looked like the perfect storm and inflation and so on and so forth, they got hit with the whole Dave Chappelle thing, right? And just like everything, it goes away. You had the little protesters. That was at the forefront of every magazine and Wall Street Journal and Business Insider and Yahoo Finance and all this stuff. The reality is that the fundamentals of the company was still the same. And nobody was going to miss the protesters that wound up getting fired. So anyways, JP Morgan is saying that it's a great stock to have. I'm personally going to continue to increase my position in it. I think that it is a great company, and I'm not going to break down all of the things that go along with it. But what it comes down to is that you need to have patience and make strong, informed decisions instead of positioning yourself based off of what you think and whatever the headlines are. We don't move with the ebbs and the flows of what happens. We just make informed decisions on how it is that we're going to continue to win. All right. So let's continue to rock out. Let's continue to win. Let's continue to make informed decisions. Again, make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And let's make sure that we get this money, man, because we still bag chasers at the end of the day. All right. So let's get into the show. So first person I want to talk about is Dr. Umar Johnson. And the reason that I'm scheduling it for it to go this way, I'm going to talk about Dr. Umar Johnson, and then we're going to navigate into Kanye West. One of the reasons why I want to start with Dr. Umar Johnson is because he did a Instagram live that somebody sent me that I thought was very interesting. Over in California, apparently they have a law. Now, I didn't research it. I don't know for sure. So allegedly, they have a law in which children can have, I'm not quite sure what the terms of it is, but children can basically have reassignment surgery, and it's legal. It's legal. Children can have reassignment surgery, and it's legal. Over in California. Now, I believed that these major cities are hubs to be taken over by aliens. Let me explain. It can't get any worse than it already is. Why in the world? Why in the world? And I'm confused. And it's a lot of things that I disagree with Umar Johnson about. But why in the world would we pass laws as adults that allow for children to have a permanent mutilization of their bodies in order to pacify and support agendas, and I'm being very careful with my words, in order to pacify and support agendas that's not necessarily in the best interest of us people? Why? No worries. So I'm just going to play the video. And again, it's a lot of things that I disagree with the good doctor about. But I did not watch the whole video. You know, I always just look at a short clip of it and see if it's something that's interesting for me to be able to react to. And so we're going to bring it to the forefront of the conversation and get it popping. So let's see what the good doctor has to say. And while he's talking about this, I'm personally going to see if I can find and pull up the law itself so that we can have a more full conversation about what's happening out here in these streets.
Permission to have gender transformation surgery, brothers and sisters. The state of California will allow children to undergo gender transformation surgery. The state of California is allowing children. The state of California is allowing children to legally undergo gender transformation surgery. Brothers and sisters, I want to talk to African people. To my Europeans, no disrespect, but I'm talking to my Africans. For my Asians, no disrespect, I'm talking to my Africans. For my East Indians, my Native Americans, my Latinos, my Arabs, my Anglo-Saxons, my Jews, no disrespect, but I'm talking to African people. And here's what I want to say. African people, I'm disappointed in us. We are losing our culture. We are losing our customs. We are losing our common sense.
So before we even get into it, I'm going to deep dive into that. We're going to come back to Doctor. He's not lying. He's not lying. He's not telling the half truth. He's not lying. He's giving it to you exactly for what it is. All right. So what we're looking at here is, I just pulled this up. It showed it on multiple different sites. But a new law aims to make California a haven for transgender youth. So this is what it is. We're going to break it down. Then we're going to go back to his opinion of it. Okay. A new law aims to stop other states from punishing children who come to California for transgender surgeries and other gender affirming care. A move that will intensify conflicts between Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and other Republican governors amid the country's escalating culture war. Newsom signed the law on Thursday. I can't believe y'all continue to let this guy. How can we move to California if this is what the move is? The weather ain't good enough for what's happening over there. Newsom signed a law on Thursday, but it won't take effect until January. So let's take inventory of what's happening in the industries right now, okay? Right now you have the purge law happening in Chicago, which is set to take place in January. And now we have the gender reassignment surgery protection laws that's happening out in California. That's set to take place in January. Maybe we all should be just go to Miami for the Patreon meetup on New Year's so that we can save. Maybe God is only going to save Florida and blow up the rest of the effing country because the bag chasers is going to be there and where one or two are gathered in his name, so he is there in the midst of us. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. Let's continue. It is designed to stop Texas and other conservative states from removing children from parents who allow them to receive gender affirming health care. You see how they make a play on words? From parents who allow them to receive gender affirming health care defined as medically necessary, keywords. We're going to use this medically necessary health care that respects the gender identity of the patient as experienced and defined by the patient. Now, who is the patient? Because they have to be signed off on by the parents. That's why I said everybody shouldn't have kids. That would include hormone therapy to suppress secondary sex characteristics and other treatments to align the patient's appearance or physical body with the patient's gender identity. The law will block out out-of-state subpoenas, stop health providers from sharing information with out-of-state entities related to gender-affirming care. It would give California courts authority to make an initial child custody determination if the child is in California for the purpose of obtaining gender-affirming care. Now, what we seen during the pandemic should have gave you an idea of what it was that we were going to be dealing with long term, because now you got to see in real time exactly how states are basically their own countries within the United States of America. Similar to who decided what was going to stay open during the pandemic or whatever, so on and so forth. This is what's happening within these states. They're having wars. We basically have a civil conflict that is happening in the United States across multiple different issues, including incarceration, certain communities, alphabet community, gender reassignment, so on and so forth, right? The law was in part inspired by Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott, who has treated gender-affirming care as child abuse and ordered investigations of families who allowed it. A Texas judge has temporarily blocked the state from doing that, but the case is on appeal. As so many states work to erase trans kids and criminalize their families, California must always have their backs, State Senator Scott Wiener said. Scott Wiener. You can't make that up. California is forcefully pushing back against the anti-LGBTQ hatred spreading across parts of our nation. The rainbow wave is real and it's coming. There cannot be any more of a powerful statement than that. California is forcefully pushing back against anti-LGBTQ hatred. So it is hatred to hold the parent accountable for completely transforming and permanently doing something to your body that is irreversible during a time where you're still forming and still maturing and still developing brain functionality as a child. The rainbow wave is real and it's coming. The law has already inspired similar posts in at least 19 other states, Wiener said, but it's not clear if the law will survive a challenge in court. The U.S. Constitution in general requires states to give full faith and credit to other states' laws, but it also guarantees people the right to travel to other states. At this time, the interplay between these two constitutional provisions and the constitutionality of other states' laws have yet to be determined, so it is unclear whether this bill will run afoul of the Constitution. Legislative staffers wrote an analysis of the bill before Newsom signed it into law. Wiener's office believes the law is constitutional because it does not change the requirement that California recognize valid court judgments issued in other states. They said the law limits California courts from enforcing subpoenas issued by out-of-state courts and protects information about gender-affirming care provided in California. The law does not block extradition to other states, but only to the fullest extent permitted by federal law, said Katie Stewart, a spokesperson for Wiener's office. The law continues California Democrats' plan to push back against laws they don't like in other conservative states. And earlier this week, Gavin signed laws to make California a sanctuary for women in other states seeking abortions now that the U.S. Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. Whoa. Now, let's get back to the good doctor. Now that y'all actually have some insight from reputable sources, including ABC News, so we don't just want to lean on our own understanding or our own perspective as to what is true and what's not true. We want to get back into the good doctor's perspective Dr. Umar Johnson, in which, again, I don't always agree with everything that he says, but I want to break down exactly how it is that he's communicating to you guys what is happening, why you should be concerned, and what his perspective is as it relates to the black community. Let's get back to the good doctor over here. Oh shoot, look at me messing up.
Tunde 3 times. Ifa Tunde 3 times. Ifa Tunde 3 times. I'm talking to my California Africans and all Africans in the world. We are losing our culture. We are losing our custom. We are losing our common sense.
Facts.
We have no right to undo what Almighty God has already done. Facts. I said we have no right to undo what Almighty God has already done. I said we have no right to undo what Almighty God has already done. You cannot, you should not, you must not, you will not take a child. I'm a doctor of child psychology. I'm an expert in child psychology. How do you allow a 12-year-old? How do you allow a 13-year-old? How do you allow a 14-year-old to decide that they are going to permanently dismember their body?
He is 100%. He is 100% correct, and I'm gonna tell you why I believe that the good doctor is 100% correct. He is 100% correct because I have a 14-year-old daughter. She does not even know what she wants to wear to school on a daily basis. She don't know if she want to wear a essentials hoodie, a Bape hoodie, or if she wants to put on a dress and then be extra feminine that day. My daughter literally don't even know if she wants to wake up on time tomorrow, if she want to catch the bus home, or she want to get picked up because she want to show off to her friends that her dad got a Porsche. Don't know her right from her left half the time. Don't even know what she want to eat tomorrow. And you telling me that they are more than capable in making a permanent decision as to whether or not they want to completely disfigure their bodies? No. Listen. What is wrong with us? Why are we not being good stewards of the people that we roll with, align with, holding our friends accountable? Because really all we doing is continuing to enable bad behavior. The more that we continue to give in to these bad demands, the more that we become culpable for our friends' actions. If you see your friend doing something or having a conversation or they bring this to you, it is your responsibility to say, yo, I don't agree with it. Too many times we say, not my business. Not my business. You don't want to get involved until it's at your doorstep and that demon is looking at you talking about no voting, no fucking. Until it's at your doorstep and the demons are looking at you talking about no voting, no fucking. And then they'll hit you with the whole hate speech agenda and they'll say, well, you must be phobic. As though I fear you. I do not fear you. I don't agree with you. And it's funny because I can sit here on this panel, because even me on this panel, because this is not my platform, it's my channel, but it's on somebody else's platform. Even me, right? I have to tiptoe through a certain amount of words that I'm using. I could sit here and completely annihilate modern women. I can completely annihilate and go off on men for having sex outside of marriage. I mean, won't even blink an eye. Will not need to be reviewed the video in order to make sure that it's advertiser friendly. I can just go off on men and say you are everything except for a child of God for sleeping with a woman outside of marriage, But then if I say I don't agree with your lifestyle because you are making it a permanent, you are enabling your kids and helping them to make a permanent decision on something that their brains is not even fully functional or fully developed to even make that decision on their own. They don't even know if they want to eat vegetables today. Then we're phobic. I don't believe in taking away your humanity. I believe that everybody as a human should be respected. But when I say that, yo, I don't agree with the laws that you're putting in place that would permanently disfigure a child because I'm concerned about the people that come after us, which is one of the reasons why I decided that I only wanted to have one kid if I was going to have a kid at all, because we are backwards. This world is crazy. Let's get back to Doctor.
Permanently massacre their flesh because your son wants to be a boy. Excuse me, your son wants to be a girl and your daughter wants to be a boy. How can they know that at 10 years old? How can they know that at 11 years old? How can they know that at 12 years old? How can they know that at 13 years old? You're gonna let a child, you're gonna let a baby make an adult decision.
Facts.
You're gonna let a...
They can't drive, can't buy alcohol, not supposed to even be able to buy cigarettes, can't buy marijuana, can't even make a decision. Listen, think about it, y'all. They can't make a decision as to whether or not they can even have sex with somebody that's older than them, but they can make a decision as to whether or not they want to completely disfigure and dismantle what they were born as originally into something else. Now, if you decide you want to become an adult, that's a completely different conversation. And adults just got to be accountable for their actions. But at what point do you start to hold parents accountable for the things that they're doing to their children? Because just because you grown don't mean that you're an adult. Just because you a man don't mean that you should be having kids. Just because you a woman don't mean that you should be busting it open. You're not responsible enough to make that decision for yourself. But then the taxpayers have to foot the bill, and then we got to go to court and we got to fight and we got to determine what state we want to live in and move away from the good weather because you decided that you wanted to enable criminals, enable the alphabet community, and then enable the legislative branches to work on their behalf instead of the righteous. Let's continue, good doctor.
Baby make an adult decision. You're going to let a baby make an adult. No child knows what they want to be.
Facts.
But you're going to let a baby.
My daughter can't even determine whether or not she want to be a police officer or IT security professional tomorrow. She don't even know whether she want to blink or go to sleep. And you're going to let them make a decision as to whether or not they want to completely change their gender before they're even 19, 20, 21, 22. You shouldn't even be, listen, in my opinion, you shouldn't even be able to do that until you at least 30, 35. That way we know for a fact that your brain is fully developed and you can make a cognitive decision as to whether or not this really makes sense for you. You're not just going through a midlife crisis.
Decide to have surgery. It's one thing if you're going to let them experiment with same-sex relationships. And I don't agree with that, but that's one thing. It's one thing if you're going to let a he call himself a her. It's one thing if you're going to let a her call himself a he, and I don't agree with that. But you're going to go further than that, and you're going to let your child decide to undergo permanent gender alteration surgery. So we're going to start seeing surgically altered boys and surgically altered little girls.
Yes. And Pandora's box is open. Pandora's box is open. This is a butterfly effect. You know not who you impact. You know not what is going to come as a result of it. You know not what laws is going to be instituted and what goes down in the future as a result of us championing and then trampolining off of all of these things that we know is not right, but we turn a blind eye to it like we don't see it. And that's insane to me. At what point do you stand up and say, hey, we need to vote these people out? We need to get a different level of representation, because you can't even get mad at the politicians. The politicians are just a reflection of the people that voted for them or didn't.
surgically altered little boys and surgically altered little girls. Surgically altered little boys and surgically altered little girls.
Kevin Robinson says, hyperliberalism has destroyed my home state. Shaking my head. Shout out to Kevin Robinson. I agree 100%. Noble Xavier Rossman says, do you buy in your personal account or your Roth 401k? I buy it in my personal brokerage account. My personal brokerage account is what it is that I purchase. And you can set up your brokerage account specifically, and I don't even like saying the names because I am with Fidelity, but they have not sent me a check. You can buy with your brokerage account, and you can set that up. And you can also set up a Roth IRA. You can set up a Roth 401k, which is then managed through the company and is managed through Fidelity. But that's through your job, and then you can have your regular 401k. Let's continue. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Thank you for the question.
Brothers and sisters, the European can do what he wants. African people must maintain our tradition. African people must maintain our culture. African people must maintain our customs. African people cannot, should not, must not allow our children.
Kingdom Minded 1121 made an interesting statement. Said the election of Obama changed the tide. The White House was covered in God's rainbow as a mockery. Think about this, y'all. President Obama was the very first president, and this is why I say you can't just rock with people just because they're black. Let me say it again. You cannot rock with people just because they are black. Because what happens is you are aligning with somebody based off of something that they can't control, but you're not taking into consideration with their policies, if they're president, and then more importantly, their character. Because a politician should not just be a reflection of what you look like. They're supposed to be a reflection of what your character reflects, what your mindset is, your ideas, what you want the future for your children to look like. And you open Pandora's box because you voted for him just because he was a black man. You keep talking about support black businesses, get black politicians. Guess what? All of these different states, including the state of Illinois, where you got your local mayor over there doing the water wave while crime is out there out of control, they're killing your states and environments. Shout out to Atlanta. I see y'all out there trying to get a black woman elected governor out there. You're destroying everything because you're aligning with somebody just because they're black and don't even realize that you're putting the own nail in your own children's coffin, because you won't be here to really suffer the ebbs and flows of what happens from your decisions. It's the children. The Bible says the children are the ones that pay for the transgressions of their parents. They're inheriting your drama and your issues and your problems. And you voted for him just because he black. And now they got a campaign going on talking about no voting, no bucking. And you gonna ride with it just because they, whatever it is that you would identify as physically. But we at the Bag Chasers rock with people because they got good character. Not because they black, not because they white, not because they anything. We rock with everybody. Let's continue.
To undergo gender transformation surgery. I totally disagree. I totally reject anybody who claims it is acceptable for a child to undergo permanent gender transformation surgery. Detroit, Michigan, I am here. Detroit, Michigan, I am here.
Why do he keep coming to Detroit and he not tapping in with Anton from AntonDaniels.com so we can sit in and have a conversation? Ain't that crazy, Rita? I'm about to follow Umar Johnson on Instagram so I can know when he come back, so I can run up on him and have a real interview since he don't want to answer my questions. Have we reached out to the good doctor yet? We have reached out to the good doctor? Huh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Let me move this forward a little bit.
Second, Nat Turner's 222nd birthday. Waverly and Dexter. Free $, FDMG school. Hit your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit your PayPal,
Hit the PayPal,
paypal.me/F. But I do want to say this to you hypocrites out there. Let me say this to you hypocrites who claim to be against racism. Whenever I speak truth, you call it racism. But when the police kill black people, you call it justice. Whenever I speak truth, you call it racism. But when black people are economically marginalized and discriminated against, you remain silent. When I speak truth.
All right, we're going to move on from Dr. Umar Johnson. So now that we have the good doctor's perspective on what's going on in society when it comes to the whole California law thing or whatever, right? Let's pivot. And let's talk about our favorite man that's been in the news lately, the Honorable Kanye West. Now, one thing that I'm doing is shout out to, I believe it was Brian Thomas. He donated on y'all behalf, and he's going to be sponsoring me giving away 5 books. So tomorrow, no, we're not going to do it tomorrow because I got to be down at the building. Let's do it Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. I am going to be figuring out how I can give away 5 books. Now, A, you have to be a bag chaser. That's one criteria. B, you have to be here to win. All right. So I am going to do a giveaway. Maybe I'll do some trivia. Maybe I'll ask you what I talked about today on the show or something like that. But you got to be a bag chaser. If you're a bag chaser and you're interested in getting a free book, The Blackout by Candace Owens, courtesy of somebody that's donated to the platform, feel free on Wednesday. I am going to give it out at the end of the show, and we're going to get it popping. All right. But my favorite guy, Kanye West, right? He had some conversations about being a Christian, liberalism, and how a lot of the things that we're seeing today for profit is actually demonic. Now, you know, it always got to come back down to the money for me, okay? But he was saying that a lot of the things that we're experiencing today, and he broke down how the media is manipulating a lot of people into starting to fall into this agenda that is now demonic. And it is right in front of your face, and you're not even denying it. So he sat down with Tucker Carlson, who I think is pretty funny, and I actually agree with a lot of what he says. I'm not sure how authentic he is, because just because I align as conservative doesn't necessarily I rock with everything that Fox News puts up. I don't even watch Fox News. I watch financial news. But he broke this down to Tucker Carlson, and so I want to share with you a couple different clips, and then I want to get your perspective, and I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and then we're going to go from there. So let's go ahead and get it popping. Let me see if I can find this clip real quick and get it popping for y'all. There we go.
There's a group mob. It's like liberal Nazis that will go up and attack you. Like I said, you know, everyone's like, Anna Wintour's your friend. I'm like...
Y'all know who Anna Wintour is, right? Anna Wintour is basically the lady that they profiled as in The Devil Wears Prada, which happens to be one of my favorite movies. The Devil Wears Prada was largely modeled after Anna Wintour, okay?
This Gabby girl and Gigi and these people, they would have never said anything negative unless they got the okay from Condé Nast, unless they got the okay from Anna. They would have never got the okay to comment. Like, let's just talk about specifically.
So these are people who are attacking you for your T-shirt.
Well, it was a setup. It started off as,
Am I muted? Okay, I'm sorry.
It started off as them having this black girl comment and say, well, I felt traumatized when
He's breaking down the whole White Lives Matters t-shirt thing. Sorry for being muted. Basically, what he's doing is he's highlighting how the media is manipulating people and how people behind the scenes are actually, thank you for letting me know, Iron Addict. I appreciate y'all. He's breaking down how actually things are being manipulated behind the scenes right before your very eyes, and it's right in front of you, and all you got to do is open up your eyes to see it. But he's going to break it down. Let's continue.
I saw this T-shirt. It's like this, a black girl saying, I felt traumatized when I saw a black man wearing something that he wasn't allowed to wear. It's like in Django when Jamie Foxx is on top of a horse and Samuel Jackson's like, you know, that black guy's not supposed to be on top of the horse.
Nah, he said, who that nigga on that neck? Who that nigga up on that neck?
Okay, and then I went and said, hey, I don't like your boots. I know Anna Wintour doesn't like your boots, and you're not a fashion person. And then people started to say I was a bully, but it was a setup. And they finally got it, right? Because I eliminated the BLM officer at Adidas.
Ooh. Ooh. He eliminated the BLM officer at Adidas. Why? Wait. Why is there a Black Lives Matters officer at Adidas in the first place? I'm just curious.
And then I got out of the Gap deal. And just one by one, I've been winning these battles, right? And they thought they had me.
I didn't even know that he had fully got out of the Gap deal yet, but thank you for letting us know, Ye.
The idea that Ye was bullying, what I think the liberal term is a body goals black woman. Now let's talk about Gabby and my good friend Lizzo. Lizzo works with my trainer, a friend of mine, Harley Pasternak.
So he's about to go into it, right? And he's saying that Lizzo actually works with his trainer, okay? I'm giving y'all the context behind what he's saying. I'm dropping a link in the chat for y'all to be able to cam up and give your thoughts. Make sure you have good lighting. Make sure you're on camera. We're going to get you up on here and we're going to get it popping. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'm going to get y'all up here as y'all see fit. I'm dropping the link in and I'm turning it on right now. But he's breaking it down and he's saying that Lizzo was actually my friend.
Harley Pasternak. When Lizzo loses 10 pounds and announces it, the bots, that's a term for people it's like telemarketer callers, like on Instagram, they attack her for losing weight because the media wants to put out a perception that being overweight is the new goal.
And I've seen this happen specifically. I remember there was a time where Lizzo had posted, and I'm not sure if she had lost weight and she said that I lost weight or she just highlighted how it is that she was eating and she had looked visibly smaller. And do you know that there were people that came for her and she had to defend herself against losing weight? I remember this happening. I see it happen on a regular basis. Do you know there's people that say you are too skinny if you start to get closer to what you're supposed to be as far as your body mass index or what you're supposed to be from a fitness perspective? There is people that will disown you or go off on you. And I'm not sure if it's because they feel deficient in themselves, but people start to attack you when you get to a point where you look differently. Matter of fact, I remember when they attacked, what's the chick that LeBron's friend is dating? Adele. When Adele was no longer fat, they attacked her. Look at Rita. Rita said they attacked her own family. What'd they say to you when you got smaller, Rita? When you got even fitter? They called Rita anorexic because she was in the gym, losing weight, looking good, and doing it naturally. Her own family attacked Rita because she was fit and she's in the gym and she don't want to be a auntie. She don't want to look like these lunch ladies. Let's continue.
It's actually unhealthy.
Yes.
Let's get aside the fact of whether it's fashion and vogue, which is not. Let's just, or if someone thinks it's attractive, to each his own. It's actually clinically unhealthy And for people to
No. Let's ignore the health aspect of it. We're only going to talk about whether or not you look like how I think you should look. BBLs, butterfly eyelashes. It's clinically unhealthy for us to be carrying as much weight as we have on our bodies and what we've normalized as healthy. But we're going to ignore that, and we're going to say that you're body shaming when we start to hold somebody accountable that we use as the billboard or the poster board of how people should be and how we should embrace body goals.
to promote that. It's demonic. You know.
What can I ask?
Yeah.
I've noticed this also.
Yeah.
Why do you think they would want to promote unhealthiness among?
He said it's demonic. I want y'all to sit that there. He said it's demonic. Shout out to Alex Trebek, says, to your and your family's health, keep urban exploring. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you for holding us down and for supporting the platform. You are very much appreciated as well as everybody else that continues to hold me down and support me, including all of the Cash Apps, the everything.
The population.
It's a genocide of the black race. They want to kill us in any way they can. Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics with the KKK. And I believe that if we saw ourselves as a people and not a race, then we would treat our people better. Like if you go to a Jewish person and you say a race, it almost gets confusing. They'll cut you off quickly and say, we're not a race, we're a people. Well, our people are supposed to just say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Okay, well, what about?
Shout out to Corey Houston for holding me down. I appreciate you, Corey Houston, on Cash App.
Do you own the land that you're living in? Do you own, is the contract even in a language that's even possibly understandable?
Right.
You know, for your heritage, you know, and in America, we as blacks will like down each other on how good we speak, but we're speaking English. There's nothing whiter than English. We're not in our native tongue, actually. So we judge each other on white goal lines.
Think about what he's saying, yo. Listen, Kanye, it seems like he's all over the place, but I understand what he feels because he has 1,000 thoughts running through his head all at the same time, and it may seem like an incoherent rant in which they try to make it seem like he's crazy, but he's not. He's not crazy. Let me tell you what Lizzo said in response. And he didn't diss Lizzo, but me and Rita, we flew somebody in this weekend. We flew a couple people in this weekend, and we had some parties, and we did some interviews and things like that. And usually what I have my people do is I have them stay downtown. And then we've established basically an account and a standard with a downtown hotel specifically that is very, very nice. For every guest that we come in to do the show and do an interview, because my content creation space is now right up the street, so that it's easier for them to be able to experience Detroit in all of its full glory and its awesomeness, especially downtown. And then in addition to that, they can come to the studio and then we can kick it, we can cook up content, and we do what we do, right? And then and everything was sold out. And I'm like, why is it sold out this weekend? Ain't nothing happening this weekend. Well, it turns out that Lizzo was at Little Caesars Arena doing a show. So all the big girls was here. Rita. All right, so hold on. Before we get back into this, I gotta slice and dice this. Right? Rita, tell me you didn't see a lot of big girls here this past weekend. Why you not answering? It was a lot of big girls that was here for the concert this weekend. Real talk. All kind of love handles everywhere. I said, they got the zoo. The zoo is open this late in the year. What they about to have a parade, a march, the elephant march down Woodward? I was trying to figure out, why is it so many big people all in one group? Usually what you see with women, I'm telling you the truth. This is what I usually see when I observe with women. You either see, listen, it's 3 different types of groups, but they not all the same. So you usually see like a bunch of busted chicks and then one nice chick, in which the good looking chick is there to make herself feel better because she hanging with a bunch of busted chicks. All right. That's A. B, the second type of group of women that you'll see is like a whole plethora of like all shapes and sizes, whatever, It's a couple different scenarios in which that happen. They may be out on like friends of friends and group outing, or they may be out on a work outing or whatever, so on and so forth, right? Or you'll see like all busted chicks all together. And some of them can be mid, some of them can be lowly busted, but then even the chicks that look halfway decent, what will happen is their value goes down significantly because they hanging out with a bunch of mids or lows, right? But you never see a whole pack of bigums. You never see a whole pack of bigums. Listen, if you are in a relationship, okay? The one thing that I've always been confused about, and you guys are more than welcome to come up on the panel and let me know what your thoughts are. I could be open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but I doubt it, right? I got a question because I've always been trying to figure this out. I can understand when it's like one big person and then one small person in a relationship. If the guy is bigger, the girl is thin, or the girl is thin and the guy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's one or the other. I never understood the logic of how do 2 big people, and please, if it's 2 big people and he got a little penis, I have no clue on how they get things done. It just seems physically impossible for you to have a good time. Sweating, your glands and pores are open, rolling around. You don't know because it be rolls, right? And so do the rolls lock in with the other roll, and then y'all get stuck together. I have no clue how it happens. How do they do it? When I see 2 huge people, and when I say huge, I'm talking about huge, and usually they roll together, right? In a couple. When I see 2 huge people together, and I'm genuinely concerned of how it happens. When I see 2 huge people rolling together and then I see a bunch of kids and then they got they big old kids with them. And I be like, Harpo, how is this happening? Who doing what? Yo, what type of bed do they have? And what is the support on that bed? How is it able to handle this? Have y'all ever seen... It's demonic. It's demonic. It is demonic all the way around. It was like a Bam Bam Bigelow meet and greet. It is what it is. I mean, listen, it's something that I have always thought about. I do not know how it's done. If somebody can give me... I know what we're going to do, Rita. We're going to go on a nasty site and we're going to look it up. And I want to see 2 pink pigs rolling around with each other and trying to figure it out. I need to know how it happens. Is it a thing? Is that a fetish? I'm going to go on one, make sure that we clear out my cash. We going to buy a computer and then take it back to the store. I don't want that junk in my algorithm. You know what I'm saying? I have to see how it's done because it seems impossible. How can they get it done in the back of a car? How can they get it done on a couch? Anyways, let me continue. We're going to go back into the Kanye. I want to share with you his final thoughts.
It drove me crazy to not be able to say that I like Trump. Because think about it, it's me. Imagine me not being able to say what I wanted. What was the point of being famous? What was the point of having, millions of people love your music?
I know y'all thought the same thing that I thought. That's why y'all agree, y'all saying it in the chat. We all think it, we just don't say it. We all think it, we just don't say it. We don't think about it all day, but we think it when we see it. Like, whoa, like Black Rob. You know what I'm saying?
What was the point of having a voice if you can't even use your own voice and connect it to your own opinions?
Yes.
That's where the disconnect happened. That's where the quote, I think wrongly.
What is the point of thinking what you say, but not being able to say it because you're afraid of what other people is going to think? That was a bar right there. That's a bar. I don't even know what I just said right there. I'm going to have to rewind that back and write that down. But what is the point of having thoughts that you can't communicate because you're afraid of what everybody else is going to think about what it is that you say? I think I just did it again. That's a bar. Slow it down. I just dissed you. But real talk, what is the point of having an opinion when you have to exist in an echo chamber? And it's not meaning that you have to be disrespectful, but what it does mean is you need to be more mindful of what it is that you communicate, because then you can be canceled or you can be dealt with harshly by the people that surround you that then disown you. You know what happened? I'm gonna get back to Ye. And again, you guys are more than welcome to jump up on a panel. I did pin the link to the top of the chat if you have an opinion that feels differently from mine. Shout out to the $3.07 Jeffrey Woodland. You a mess. You are a mess, my friend. What is the point of what is the point? Because I was an outcast in my family for a while until they realized that I was right. Until I was the rich one and everybody else was like, wait a minute, it's kind of dusty down here. You know how, listen, when it's dusty, you see a lot of this. When people going through stuff, you see a lot of scratching, a lot of itching. Why is it that when people are broke, they itch a lot, Rita? When people are broke, they itch a lot. They do like this. You got them cheeseburgers, man. Like, no, when they broke people itch a lot. And I'm not talking about, ooh, my hand is itching. You know how them old women used to say, ooh, my hand is itching. I feel like it's some money about to come. They itch on their whole body. They be ashy for some reason. They do like this a lot. They stretch their shirts out. Why are they shirts? Why is the ring around their shirt stretched out? What does that have to do? Why does that correlate with broke? If I see you and your shirt, if your collars are stretched out, that means you've been scratching here, and I know that you don't have no money. This is one of the things that you need to identify as an individual that now has resources. Shout out to the bag chasers. I know that if you start doing like this a lot and you don't have eczema, I know that's it. I know you done. I know you don't have no money. Shout out to the itchers.
Wrongly diagnosed, that's where the bipolarity is. Because you got something you're thinking, but you're told you're not allowed to say it in public. Well, I never actually told people that I liked Trump when he was running because I was bullied by Hollywood. Because I stayed in Hollywood and people are like, think about your kids, and I'm trying to hold on to the marriage, so I'm just biting my tongue. Like, do
y'all know what it's like to be a man that cannot break out and be what it is that you really need to be, regardless of how much money you have, with everybody that's around you telling you you're wrong? Everybody around you, even on a smaller scale. I was always told to shut up, Anton. You don't know, you don't want to rock the boat. Why you got to start thinking like a Republican or a conservative? This is what my own family used to tell me. What makes you think you can question us as far as our biblical principles and what it is that we stand for? Why would you challenge us? Shut up. The thing that I was told, and this is the honest to God truth, I put it on my father's grave. They would say obedience is better than sacrifice, so shut up and do what you're supposed to do. Don't ask questions. Be unquestionably, this is the word. I remember it like yesterday. Unquestionably obedient is what I was told. Rita could tell you. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Be unquestionably obedient, is what I was told. Shout out to Alex Trebek with the 50 ball, continuing to support the platform. I appreciate you, big dog. Says cognitive dissonance. Kanye is great at taking complicated concepts and explaining them in plain speech, like Albert Camus' notion of being remembered for the next 100 years, or even his novel, The Rebel. I'm going to have to read that. Let me screenshot that real quick. I had to screenshot that one real quick, big dog, because I'm going to get it. Thank you, Alex, for supporting the platform, always holding us down and ensuring that we continue to move the conversation forward. I'm going to bring up my guy, Daryl. I'm going to bring up Daryl and see what the word is on the streets. What up, D?
What's poppin', Anton?
Slow motion, big dog. How you feel?
I'm good, man. Me and my baby, we at the pediatrics. I was tapping in with you real quick.
Shout
I'm
out
gonna
to
go
you and your
outside. Be
baby
right
at
back.
the
Okay,
pediatric.
sounds good. Yeah, man. I was at the pediatrics with my daughter. I'm listening. I'm saying, Anton, the reason why, a lot of the stuff that is happening against you is because they really don't want the truth to come out, bro, about real leadership. And listen, one thing I like about you is you really, really, really there for your family. You actually there for the people in your community, right? Stuff that you say, even me who didn't mess with you at some point, I came to it. I said, you know what? Time Dog not lying about something, and it's crazy because I'm all black to black, Anton. You know that,
Yeah, of course.
right? But at the same time, when you say that these people going against you because you became a Republican because you came that, if the issues that you present is going to help the community out, what side, like, why do it matter if you're a Republican? Why do it matter if you're a Democrat? Why do it matter if you're a liberal? If you are presenting ideas that's going to lead the community, why do it matter?
You know the interesting thing
That's the
about it
question I
though,
got for
D?
you. Like, why do people feel the need to?
You know the interesting thing about it though is that I don't even consider myself a Republican. Um, I consider myself conservative in my views, but I don't even agree with 100% of all of the things that Republicans do, right? I don't agree with a whole lot of things that they stand for and say. I don't agree with everything that Candace Owens says. I don't agree with everything that Kanye says. I don't agree with everything that Tucker Carlson says, right? I think the difference is that, and one of the reasons why me and you are able to have a conversation and even align on a lot of the different things is that we spend more time focused on the things that we agree with than the things that we don't. And we open to the possibility of learning more when we have these conversations about the things that we don't disagree with. But the important thing is that I see the value in you in the same way that you see value in me, and that I understand that even with you being more aligned with people based off of being black, right? It doesn't mean that you don't contribute in a lot of the ways that I agree with needs to be supported within the black community. You know what I'm saying? And so we spend more time, I think, as people disassociating ourselves with people based off of the fact that we don't like them instead of associating ourselves with people based off of whether or not we agree. And that's one of the things that I think that even you and I really, really closely aligned with, because you do a lot of things that are good for the community. I know that you've spoken with and reached out to Gary Peters, which is in one of our legislative branches here in Michigan. I know that you be in communities and you advocate for a lot of the different things that I think support the community. I can acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not we agree on every single little detail has nothing to do with whether or not we agree on the things that's actually beneficial for communities.
No, I feel you on that acknowledgement because I did with Senator Peters a while ago, and I'm actually planning on doing a sit down with Alyssa Spotkan. I'm not sure if you know about her, but she on the ballots and she making a lot of noise here in East Lansing, and
Okay.
there's a lot of bad things that's come out about her. So one of the conversations that me and her party's about to have is how is Alyssa Slotkin, how is she going to benefit African American families in Michigan? That's super important to me. You get what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely appreciate the love, dog. I'm about to go ahead and get back to this pediatric appointment though, and I'll be in the chat, my brother.
I appreciate you, D. Come up anytime. You know I got your back, bro.
Salute.
Shout out to D. Anybody that wants to come up on the platform, you're more than welcome to do so. And again, you talking about two guys, for those of you that are not familiar with Daryl Long, two guys who basically, Daryl at one point was considered by many people to be my arch enemy, right? I mean, like, and I'm not talking about on an arch enemy like you over there, I'm over here, like we in the same city, from the same place, from the inner city of Detroit, really, really not liking each other and really, really talking about what's gonna happen and who gonna pull up and all of that. Like largely considered an arch enemy. And if him and I can have civil discourse and even apologize to each other and say, you know what? My bad, I shouldn't have did that. Or, yo, listen, let's get past this and let's actually be productive and move forward. And he actually stands on a completely different end of the aisle as far as his alignment with the black community versus my alignment with people of character. But I can see the value in somebody in the same way that even if somebody is a homosexual, right? I have people that work for me that are homosexual, and I'm not going to deny them a job or their humanity simply because I don't align with their lifestyle. It doesn't mean that we're phobic. It means that we disagree fundamentally on this one particular issue in which I'm going to stand firm on. But when we talking about the alphabet community and we talking about the media and we talking about how people are programming you to think a certain type of way, I'm telling you that you being a coward in your stance will not further the conversation as far as ensuring that you can then do the thing that's in the best interest of your children, which is the ones that is going to inherit the earth. Let's continue, y'all. Let me get the honest truth up here. I want to see what the honest truth got to say. Anybody that want to jump up on the panel, you're more than welcome to. What is going on, honest truth?
Hey, what's going on, Anton? Long time watcher, friend. Man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you and your platform, bro. Keep on rocking.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. So I'll make it short and sweet. I've really been a fan of Kanye for a long time. He's really my favorite rapper. He's my favorite artist. Top 5, in my opinion, to ever do it.
I agree.
And appreciate that. And I think what he is good at is being spot on the money at every turn of his career. Whatever he does, he's spot on the money, whether it's fashion, music, and in this case, politics. We're at a polarizing time in this nation right now, man, where we just got off of a Black Lives Matter multi-billion-dollar campaign to try and push the awareness, the knowledge of what's been happening politically and with police and everything like that inside of black cultures. But also at the same time, we're having a wokeness and awareness within ourselves that sometimes we are our own worst enemies as well. So as black people, we're in a really polarizing position because, and this is something that I never heard anybody said. I thought of this the other day. We're the only people in the world that don't have a home country, Black Americans. We're the only people where we can't go back to our own country of people that look like us really and plug in automatically because there's such a vast difference in culture between us and Africans here in America, right? So what's happening is we're having this wokeness, this realization, and some of us are waking up. Kanye woke up a long time ago, and money does help you do that as well. I don't know if y'all remember when Dave Chappelle joked about being a Democrat until he became rich.
Yep.
And then he joked about voting for Trump on stage, and everybody laughed about it, but it's true. To some extent, there are benefits that you get. Obviously, we're not going to get too deep into that right now. Going back to Kanye and the White Lives Matter comments, the biggest thing about it that rubs a lot of people the wrong way is the truth about a lot of aspects about what that shirt mentions and what Kanye talks about. So obviously, the White Lives Matter isn't trying to, and I don't think they're trying to, him and Candace Owens, make it seem like white people are more important per se.
No, they didn't even speak on white people specifically when they talked about and addressed the whole White Lives Matter t-shirts.
Right, exactly. But it's been convoluted and kind of interpreted as this really coonish type behavior, right? And that's not the case at all. What it is, it's a conversation starter for us to really have these conversations like you're doing now on your platform, Anton. So shout out to you, of how we kind of do each other in a different light, and we don't acknowledge that, right? So we know that Black Lives Matter, cool. That's all fine and dandy. But what's happening now, Anton, is we're starting to speak about everything in our community that needs a lot of work. And here's where the big issue is, right? Here's where the big issue is. And I'll finish off with this.
Mm-hmm.
That that the White Lives Matter shirt being such an issue with with a lot of black people is telling, because it almost puts reality of, and I'm not, a lot of people are going to get upset at this, it almost puts the reality of our community to light. We can be racist. I don't,
Oh,
I don't,
absolutely.
I don't, I
100%.
don't know if y'all know this, but like, I mean, just imagine this for a second. But imagine, you're a white person, and you see all these black people getting upset because there's a White Lives Matter shirt, even though I, as a white person, have just been pushing Black Lives Matter for years. You know what I'm saying? So there's a really big issue going on right here, and that's that we can't even see ourselves as being racist. Like, you ask a black person, can you be racist? They're like, no, of course you can't be racist. We're black. We can't be racist in America. That's an issue. But also, on top of that issue, you and this blind racism that a lot of black people just don't see that we can have will start to create legitimate racism in this country as well. Y'all, I don't know, but wake up. And I think a lot of us need to wake up to the position of the 14% of this country that we're in. And I'm not telling you to live in fear. I'm not telling you to do that. But we, as black people owning 2% of the wealth in America, we own very little. We have very little roots in this country. And for whatever reason or another, there's an agenda to try and prod and wake up this giant lion and to divide ourselves and to start this civil misery amongst each other. And I'm telling you right now, nobody wants that, but least of us, the most minoritied. We don't want that situation, and we don't want those problems. There's a lot of issues that something or some entity is trying to stir up. But what Kanye is doing is he's actually trying to solve those issues a bit and connect the bridge. I get it, y'all. Slavery happened. I get it that there was a lot of bad stuff that happened. It's 2022 now. At some point or another, we're going to have to wake up and realize that we weren't, our parents weren't, and their parents weren't. But if we keep letting certain things and agendas divide us, we're going to be divided one day, just like we were back then.
Do
That's
you
all I
think
wanted to say.
that part of, I have a theory personally, right? And my theory is the reason why we'll never make any progress, or we haven't made any progress, and we actually continue to go backwards, is because I think that there's I don't want to say the OGs, I'm going to say older generation still is at the helm. And I think that they have a narrative that's actually pushing us backwards instead of propelling us forward, right? I think that there's people in power and people in positions of authority. Some of the people, in my opinion, is Roland Martin, Jesse Jackson, those type of people, right? And even when it comes to a lot of these pundits and people that are on these platforms, or people that have a voice and so on and so forth, I believe that those are our biggest barriers. I don't think that it has anything to do with white people. I don't think it has anything to do with a system. I do think that Hollywood and our media plays a huge role in it. But I think that largely one of the reasons why there's a lack of progress is because the people that are supposed to be having the conversations, they don't have as big as a platform or the microphone as the ones that are at the forefront of having these conversations, such as the ones that support the Black Lives Matters organization itself, right? What do you think about that? What do you think is the biggest hindrance as far as progress when it comes to economic wealth? Because I'll even give you an example to illustrate my point, right? When a lot of the old people or old guard highlight economic wealth, as you indicated, 2% of the wealth in the country, right? They're asking for a handout. They're not asking for information. They're asking for empowerment in the form of some form of a handout, or economic opportunity, or whatever. I believe that the biggest progress that the Black community can make in itself is to be less dependent on the federal government, less dependent on handouts, less dependent on stimulus, less dependent on the government titty, in order to make sure that they pull themselves into a position of power by then empowering themselves by being more forceful when it comes to their consumer spending habits, ownership, all of this type of stuff. What are your thoughts on that whole thing?
Yeah, you're spot on. You're spot on, and I'll kind of build off of that. So there's a couple of fundamental concepts. I saw the comments, and of course I'm not going to bring too many of them to light. But so many people are saying, "Oh, quote, just get over racism." Oh, here's another one where the past doesn't matter, right? And this is what I have to say to this, and to every person, and not just to Black people, because all races have endured slavery in the past. It just so happens that for whatever reason or another. Ours was, very interestingly long, right? Now, I understand that it happened, and that's all fine and dandy. But the solution is just as you stated, whether it's 1500 or whether it's the year 2022,
Mhm.
and that is that the strength of the community is what's going to carry you through whatever types of external, whatever is outside influences are trying to destroy your community. It can't happen if you have a tight enough household that your family members aren't going to bend and shake. It can't happen if you have a tight enough community to where people aren't going to sell each other short or sell each other out. So the answer at the end of the day does come back to, once again, the strength of each individual person in the community. Now, the problem is this, Anton. The problem is that we grow up in a certain area and demographic, once again, going to that money and the lack of money that creates a scarcity mindset inside of us. When you grow up in the hood, when you grow up in these areas that a lot of us unfortunately grew up in, and we don't have the strength of the community to provide resources and backing and safety and security, your mind starts to envelop or enshroud itself in the scarcity mindset because you don't have enough security, you don't have enough resources, you don't have enough this, and you don't have enough that. Also, as a side effect, you don't ever really have the chance to face your problems head on because you don't have the resources to do so. So what do you say? Well, you go ahead and you build a habit or a lifestyle of looking or blaming others or whatever it might be. And I'm not saying that everybody does this, but I'm saying that when you don't have resources and functions and things in check to put people and communities in the right positions to thrive or to correct them or to get them started in this race of the life race on the right start, when there's no guidance, then everybody has to figure out their own way. And so that's what we have happening right now. We have a lot of people in the community who are raised to positions who didn't really have the know-how, who didn't have the backing. We don't have generational wisdom. We don't have generational economic infrastructure and fortification. We don't have as much knowledge. But the people that are risen to knowledge in our culture, a lot of the times, are the ones who are just as lost as we are. And having money doesn't change that necessarily. What does change that is having vision. When you have vision and when you have drive, when you have people that are willing to sacrifice for the community, and this is something else I hear a lot about. We joke about when we get money, man, moving out of the hood. How many times have you joked about, man, well, I can't wait till I get some money to get away from y'all, right? We joke about creating our own demise even when we make it monetarily. So it's the White Lives Matter shirt is saying a lot more about a good amount of black people than it is white people in this case. And that's what Kanye nailed. He nailed it. He nailed it. And this is why Charleston White is also starting. And I don't mean to name drop, but forgive me, yo.
No, you cool. I'm
This is
cool
why,
with Charleston. That's my guy.
go ahead, bro. This is why other people are starting to become more woke, if you will. We're starting to say, hey, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah, Anton, you know what? That kind of makes sense. Yeah, I don't fully agree with it, but okay, listen, y'all. If the reparations never come, then what? At some point or another, this is the question, Anton. At some point or another, this is the question. What is black people's ultimate goal? Is your ultimate goal to bring the image of the land that you live in down? Here's the thing. Is it so bad here? And if it's so bad here, what exactly do you plan on doing about it? You only have two options. And the option that we're headed to right now is not an option that most humans want to head towards. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You only have two options. You can stay and when in Rome, do as the Romans do, or you can leave. And as a good amount of blacks have done, and we're starting to do it as we become more educated and build for ourselves, you can make a very good lifestyle for yourself in America, irrespective of race. Are there racist people? Absolutely there are. I'm in Texas. Let me tell you. I know some I've worked with some racist people, man. All right. But that's not going to stop me, or will it?
I
Right.
appreciate you, man. Thank you so
Thank you,
much, my
Anton.
friend. Thank
All
you.
right, bro.
Some really insightful people on this platform. I'm gonna bring you up, Q Jones in the building. What's going on, my friend? How you feel?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm chilling, bro. What's the word?
Long time listener, man. First time caller, man. You are speaking my kind of language right now. Left the legal field about 15 years ago, and I just got off into developing businesses and uh, property. One of my businesses that's very near and dear to me is a photography company that I own. We service schools, elementary, high schools, and some career colleges along the Gulf Coast. One of the biggest problems that we have, especially with HBCUs, is getting them to use black vendors. Can you believe out of all the HBCUs in the country, only 9 of them use a black photographer for commencement?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and what has happened is, for those people that don't know, many of the HBCUs and many of the even the PWIs do not own their own bookstores. It's either owned by Follett or Barnes and Noble. So
I didn't
what
know
they'll
that.
do in
That's interesting.
yeah, what they'll do is taking for instance Southern University. Southern University and also FAMU have some of the biggest graduating classes and A&T has some of the biggest graduating classes in the South. Okay. Barnes and Noble or Follett owns the bookstores, and they'll host what is called a grad fair. And when they hold these grad fairs, they get to invite who they choose to invite. Normally, it's Balfour, Herb Jones, Jostens, but none of them are black vendors. I've done the numbers, Anton. On an annual basis, there's roughly about $3.8 million being generated in graduating funds, and none of that goes toward a black hand.
Do you think that when we say HBCUs, right? Because we know that there's a ton of HBCUs. Do you think that HBCUs are actually for black people, or do you think that HBCUs is just a name? Do you think it's just an institution that they frame as a name? Because I don't believe that any of them was founded by black people, and I don't think that any of them is actually doing anything that empowers black people any more than any other institution.
No, they're not. Dillon University was founded by black people.
Oh, okay.
So was Southern University. But now they're controlled by white dollar. Um, Deion Sanders put this into perspective when he was dealing with something with us. They were being sued by a production company. One of the biggest. You're from Detroit, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with Bayou Classic?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
It's running control by a white woman by the name of Dottie Belletto
I didn't
that
know that.
owns NOCCI. Make a note of it. The name of the company is called NOCCI. And she just hired her first black person about 2 years ago. But she's in ultimate control of Bayou Classic. If she says Bayou Classic is not going to happen tomorrow, it's not.
Hmm.
I think the problem that we have in the black community, especially as it relates to business, is that we've become too individualized. It's us. They're not thinking about they're not thinking about black people as a whole. If that was the case, there would be no black people playing in some of these white universities. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing that black people weren't welcome there until they found a financial stake in what we had to in what we brought into their stadium. And it's a shame.
A piece of pushback that you would get, for example, though, would be that why would they continue to push dollars into any black people's hands or the black community specifically outside of just them naturally competing in capitalism when the majority of the dollars that's used to support the university themselves, especially the tax dollars that goes into these HBCUs, for example, come from all Americans and not just black people specifically.
That's a good perspective. But even when those dollars are divided, they're not divided properly. Look at the Maryland lawsuit. You just won a ton of money with the Maryland lawsuit. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but all the universities in Maryland sued Maryland because they funneled dollars into the University of Maryland that was allocated for HBCU.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not familiar with the lawsuit, but yeah, I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying.
yeah. I'm a proud graduate of Coppin State University in Baltimore, Maryland. But yeah, they manipulated that money, and once and this lawsuit went on for nearly a decade. And it just finalized recently. But nevertheless, my mentality has always been to spend my money within my neighborhood first. A lot of people don't share that same philosophy, but I have seen where money that I have sent out to the community, such as a barber or at a beauty salon or at a car lot, has come back to me in some way, shape, form, or fashion. White people not purposely spending money in my community. They'll spend money in the community if it benefits them, but
Yeah, but I
they're
mean,
they're not
at the
gonna
same time, I'm
say,
not
well,
sure
look, I'm
that
gonna go
black
here
people
for.
spend money in the community, um, based off of the fact that they think that they would spend money in it unless it benefited them either. Like
But
I'll
that's
give you an
that's
example. I think that
right.
a lot of times people actually discount black businesses when they are black. They look to get the hookup. They're not looking to pay full price. They, do a lot of things that don't necessarily support that business itself. And I think that the way that we should probably look at it is forcing people to compete just based off of the standards of what capitalism means in the United States of America, instead of forcing them to compete based off of whether or not they black.
Well, and
Because
that's
I
fair.
don't
I,
I don't
I can.
believe that. I don't want nobody to come to me talking about hiring me because I'm black. I want them to come to me saying
Well, no,
hire me
no.
because I'm good, and if they just so happen to be black, then that's even better.
Well, in my line of work, in my line of work, um, well, with one of the companies I own, for example, um, we have three traditional black Catholic schools in New Orleans. We have St. Augustine, we have St. Mary's, and we have St. Catherine Drexel. In their history, let me see, I think the youngest one is probably St. Catherine Drexel. I think that was about 60 years old. In their history, they've had multiple Caucasian photographers. Okay. So we have our traditional white Catholic school, which is Brother Martin, um, Mount Carmel, and Jesuit. They've never had a black photographer. So I can't say that the playing field is fair. Whenever I
Well,
crack open my
why haven't
books,
they though? I mean, why haven't they? Is it if I go out looking for a photographer, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate for a minute, right? If I go out and look for a photographer, I'm gonna look for the best photographer, not necessarily the best black photographer, because I want the best pictures, right?
right,
If the best
right.
photographer just so happens to, and he markets himself phenomenal, right? I got a black barber.
Hmm.
I know some great, like for my beard, I know some great white barbers. This guy just so happened to be the
Hmm.
top, right? And so I'm always gonna go with the guy that's the top instead of the guy that whatever. You know what I'm saying? I know some
Granted.
my
So
tailor for my
if we,
suits and stuff. He just so happened to be a Chaldean guy, right? Because he's
okay,
been the
with that
best
with that
guy.
theory,
And I've been to a white tailor, I've been to a Jewish tailor, I've been to a black tailor. The Chaldean guy is the best guy ever, right? Why would I not go with
okay,
the best
so
available
with
option
that
instead of
theory,
just going with black?
right? With that theory, let's take for example your barber. If your barber is white, right?
No, my barber is black.
You say your barber's white. Okay. Well, let's say for instance your barber is white, hypothetically, and your barber tells you that I can cut your hair just as good, or maybe even better than the person's cutting your hair now. Where the difference comes in is, are you willing to look at his work?
No.
You're not willing to look at his work, even if you said that I know that I'm better than uh, um than uh, uh
No,
than
in
the
that
person
instance,
you're
I
using right
wouldn't
now.
be because I believe in loyalty and rocking with the person that's been servicing you for the long, that's been
Gotcha.
holding you down. So that I couldn't use
So
that
in
example. If we talking about
so in essence,
contracting to build for a building or something like that, then
yeah,
obviously I'm gonna rock with whoever
yeah.
it is best that can do the job the best.
In essence, that's what we're facing when we go to the schools. When we're dealing with a school that's predominantly white or white run, our work doesn't get looked at. And we're talking about some of the best photographers in the game. I can't think of anybody that's better than Leslie Henderson, who was Masterpiece photographer, who's now one of the best school photographers in the South. They won't even look at his work. It's a running joke among our sector that it's a waste of time. going to a school that is predominantly white because they won't hire a black photographer. However, the black school will hire a white photographer. That's the difference.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm just always wondering if it's something bigger than that, right? Did they go through the
Mhm.
process the way that they're supposed to go through it? Is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, with private schools, as it relates to contract with private schools, they're not they don't have to do business with you unless they operate with the federal voucher system, where the government pays for some of the students to come there. If they're not utilizing that system, then they don't have to abide by any governmental contractual rules of acquisitions. But when you're dealing with universities or public facilities, they have to abide by some type of process because they're public facilities. Some of them are getting around it by actually renting out space on the campus and just saying, hey, you can't tell me what to do with our business that I'm renting, or with a building that I'm renting. So they get around it. But nevertheless, I don't want them to get rid of the photographers because they're white. I want them to make sure the process is fair to those people that these institutions were supposed to be built for.
I got you. I understand what you're saying.
So in essence, they're shutting out the very people that these institutions were built for, and I don't think it's fair.
I understand what you're saying. I got you.
So, but nevertheless, man, I enjoyed the conversation that time,
Thank you
and
for
I'm
coming
gonna
up on the
finish this one.
platform, Q. I appreciate you, big dog.
No problem, man.
All right,
Peace.
cool. So, I'm glad that you guys get to participate on the platform. Um, let's see. Somebody said, let me read some of these super chats in a minute. Wait. Anton usually does not espouse black business exclusionary talk. This is where he loses me. Everybody else practices intercultural business except black folks. Not a good look. Well, if that was the case, then I wouldn't be successful. If that's the case, then I wouldn't be successful because the people that rock with me, including the people that is a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. The people that hired me, the people that's given me some of the biggest opportunities that I've ever had in my entire life, don't necessarily look like me. Some of the people that I do business with today look like me. Some of the people that has given me some opportunities also look like me, right? I've had great experiences across the board. And so it's disingenuous for you to say that I'm supposed to move a specific way anyway outside of character, when my experiences have taught me that the people that rock with me are not just one race, one culture, one train of thought, one gender at all. I rock with everybody because I align with people based off of character. Now, until I have a different experience that would teach me or would lead me to be otherwise, then I would do that. But as of right now, the way that I stand, the way that I move, and even my spiritual beliefs say that I should rock with people based off of character and not based off of anything that they can't control. Because if that was the case, then I should also practice excluding women from the platform just because I'm a man. Why not? Where should we? I only want to rock with people with glasses. And if you don't have a beard, then don't come here. Where does it end? If you don't wear a Rolex, then don't come into my sphere. At what point does it end? I don't want to talk to anybody above 6 feet tall because I'm under 6 feet tall. At what point do we start to disclude ourselves from people based off of things that we can't control? Now, that does not mean that I'm not going to bring y'all up on this platform and have conversations with you based off of the idea of what your experience is, because that's where I grow, right? I want to understand people. I'm not necessarily looking to debate people. Now, when I see that people are lying or they give me a story that don't align or not rocking out, then we going to have some civil discourse, right? But my point is, no, I do not rock with Saucy at all because that is something that they can control. He can control whether or not he got a BBL. He can control whether or not he got them butterfly eyelashes on there. No, I'm not rocking with Saucy. But my point in illustrating these things is that I don't focus on things that people can't control. I believe in rocking with people that can control the controllables. And if you are a good person, I don't disclude you at all. You always gonna be a part of my tribe, right? So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock with me. I want to do these every day. I want to allow for people to come up and give their experiences because I learn, we learn. I'm not always right. I am most of the time. I'm not always right, but at the same time, my growth comes from people listening to other people's experiences, which is completely different than mine. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I rock with y'all. Thank y'all for rocking out with the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Shout out to all of the new Patreon members. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wednesday, we are giving out 5 books of Blackout by Candace Owens, courtesy of somebody that donated to the platform. I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.